I wish I could go like a month without having to talk about microtransactions and loot boxes. Just like a month where I could get a break from having to think about this shit. Obviously, I could just choose to tune out and pretend like everything's honky-dory, but I can't do that, I just can't. In a time where microtransactions and loot boxes are becoming more prevalent and more intrusive, I feel compelled to spread the gospel, if you will, because it is such a relevant issue nowadays. They're really starting to have an adverse effect on this beloved medium that we call video games right under our noses, and it only seems to be getting worse and worse with every passing year. Case in point, Forza's latest entry, Motorsport 7, implemented loot crates for the first time, and fans were pissed at their adverse impact on certain gameplay features. In previous Forza games, you could just adjust settings of your races and the driving mechanics to your liking, and the more challenging you made the game for yourself, the more in-game currency you'd automatically be awarded with. But in this new game, adjusting settings will no longer do that. Instead, you have to open loot boxes and randomly earn what are called race mods, which adjust the conditions and objectives of a race in exchange for more in-game currency. So they took out this basic feature that once used to be inherent to the series and turned it into fuel for the game's real-world economy. Fortunately, after the backlash, the developers said they would take measures to change this system to the way it used to be, but the fact that they were willing to try something like this and push the boundaries of what they could get away with is still disconcerting. For similar reasons, it concerns me to say that the upcoming Assassin's Creed Origins may also feature some form of loot boxes. The following information comes from YouTuber CenterStrain01, who recently posted some exclusive new footage of the game. In the video, if you skip to around the 2 minutes 30 seconds mark, you will see the player checking out a store called Nomad's Bazaar, and among the listed items is something called Heka Chest. According to the description, it contains one random weapon or shield, opens automatically on purchase. Sounds familiar, right? Now, Ubisoft hasn't confirmed anything, so we still don't know exactly what these Heka chests are, but the naming convention of the item and the description seem to speak for themselves. It is worth noting, however, that in this pre-release build, there is no option to use real-world money for purchases. As you can see down here, the only price listed for this Heka chest is 3,000 coins, with no listing for Helix credits or anything similar used in past games for microtransactions. But I can almost guarantee that some form of a real-world economy system is coming, and that Ubisoft is waiting for the right time to announce or talk about it. And for those who doubt that Origins will implement microtransactions, keep in mind that it's been in every Assassin's Creed game since, I believe, 3, correct me if I'm wrong. It started out as a multiplayer-only feature and then slowly creeped into single-player in more recent titles. And now with Origins and with AAA gaming culture having evolved to a point where single-player loot boxes is commonplace now, I don't see Ubisoft missing out on this financially fruitful opportunity out of the kindness of their hearts. If they did, that'd be incredible and frankly somewhat miraculous, but in this day and age, it's hard for me to remain optimistic on that front, especially when I see something like this that hints at the likelihood of these kinds of practices. And see, we're not just talking about microtransactions here, we are talking about the next evolution of the despised practice, loot boxes. You no longer get to pick the rewards that you purchase like you could in the past. Instead, you gamble for them in slot machine fashion. There's a reason why loot boxes even come with all the visual and auditory cues and flares involved with slot machines and pachinkos. It's all about that build-up, the anticipation, the hope and illusion that you're getting closer and closer to hitting jackpot, promptly followed by disappointment and a necessity to try again, hoping for a different outcome. And once in a while, you might get something good out of it, but if you sit back and take a long, hard look, more often than not, you'll find that you've lost more than you've gained. Loot boxes straight up take advantage of the same principles as gambling, preying on people's addictive tendencies. And if these Heka chests are any indication, it seems quite likely that Assassin's Creed Origins will play host to this shit as well. I could be wrong about this, but I believe this would be a first in the series. It's had single-player microtransactions where you could pick out rewards, but never loot boxes where you gamble for them, until possibly now with Origins. Origins may quite literally be the origin of loot boxes for the Assassin's Creed series. And unfortunately, it makes sense. Now that a handful of publishers have successfully implemented single-player loot boxes despite backlash, it shouldn't be too surprising that Ubisoft intends to follow suit with this new business trend, knowing they can get away with it now. And as the gaming industry heads in this direction, we're essentially witnessing the death of a once beloved free and inherent gameplay feature: cheats. That's what single-player loot boxes are essentially, if you think about it. They're game cheats and shortcuts being sold as a commodity and a byproduct of gambling. I don't know if you've noticed, but cheat codes nowadays are a rarity in the AAA video game space. They just don't hand those out anymore like they used to. With Assassin's Creed Origins, it seems as though Ubisoft intends to join the rest of the AAA gaming industry, which is just sad and unfortunate. If Ubisoft can prove me wrong, if they can actually exempt Origins from a real-world economy system, then great, I'd welcome being wrong about all this. And there is a small chance, I guess, because nothing's official yet and they haven't announced anything regarding microtransactions or loot boxes, but it saddens me to say that I just don't have hope that Ubisoft will do the right thing. What are your thoughts about these Heka chests? Do you think they hint that microtransactions and loot boxes are indeed making their way into Origins, or do you think there's hope that the feature will be implemented in a reasonable way? Let us know in the comments below. Also, if you like this video and enjoy my content, consider supporting me on Patreon to participate in Q&As, chat with me on Discord, play games with me, get your name in my videos, and much more. All contributions will go towards helping us remain 100% independent. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out!